Hi, welcome to this channel, Stone the Crone. I'm Kellyanne Chaos. Today I want to talk about the adventure I had yesterday. So I went into the city yesterday, which is Brisbane, because I live in Queensland, Australia. So I jumped on the train and off I went to the city. As I did, I dropped little gifts around the place. Just little awareness gifts to other places, and hopefully, maybe they'll be picked up, maybe they'll be seen. I had a really great day yesterday. Like, it was a fair bit of walking, which I guess what you do, when you're doing a bit of activism. And it's the first time I actually got out there with a group of women, boots on the ground, they call it here in Aussie land. Which was great, that we did have one guy involved in it, and it was really good. And at the moment where we are in Queensland, we don't have the self ID, and it hasn't come in yet. So we still have this really excellent opportunity to nip this shit in the bud here where we are. Look, honestly, do not know how this is going to pan out. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but it was really just great to be around a bunch of people who give shit, like literally give a shit. We've had a few TRAs sort of have their say. The old I studied biology and are you a biologist? All this fucking shit. Like, well, fuck, bitch, I don't have to be a biologist. I'm a mother. I've had 2 fucking kids, so I do not need to have studied biology to know how to fucking breed. Do not. I know that sperm, eggs make baby. Male, sperm, gametes. Female, egg, gametes, babies. Yeah? Ain't no trans person that identifies into the opposite sex going to be creating babies. So this whole, I'm a biologist, I mean, really, could you do any better than to quote Posey Parker? I may not be a vet, but I know what a dog is. Exactly, right. I think from what I observed myself, that the one who copped it the most really was actually our bloke. We had one bloke with us, and he actually copped it quite badly from the TRAs. He got the bigger, a bike rider went past him and literally yelled bigot like in his face, which was a little bit, I don't know, a bit strange, because I kind of expected more of that to be directed at us women rather than the man. I just found that to be very interesting, as this was my first off the internet activism. I mean, look, really excellent bunch of people. The lady who runs it here in Queensland, Queensland's a really big place. Like, it's a huge place. So for us to get a group together in our city can take hours, because Queensland's it's huge. So we had people from Sunshine Coast and come to the meetup space. I must say, totally, oh my God, actually caught up with someone that I talked to in the comments on, I think I've spoken to her in the comments of the chat on Karen Davis, I think Slightly Twisted Females chat. And I just sort of mentioned I had this little YouTube channel, and like, so it was cool, it was cool that 2 people who'd been chatting on YouTube could literally turn up at the one event, and this was a small event, it wasn't a big event, and actually it was like, oh my God, we're friends without meeting. We'd never met in the flesh, but we were already friends. I kind of thought that was cool. It was a bit exciting, actually. You know who you are. Loving you, girl. You know, it was very Wokeville, like South Brisbane. It's a parkland sort of. You know, back in the day, they built Expo 88, like the World Fair there, and now it's quite a lovely parklands, but it's so woke, and there's these particular stairs that go up into one of the universities, and they're completely done in the flag that's got the trans triangle on it and the rainbow. And I was really hoping that I could try to find somebody to take a photo of me, you know, going like this in front of the stairs. I literally could not find a single person that I trusted not to abuse the shit out of me to take that photo. Like, it was literally like Queensland's woke capital. The looks, the stares, the glares, the little comments to each other as people were walking past me was literally like, yeah, look, in all fairness, I did have my woman by definition shirt on, and my witchy hat, which has my, I don't know if you can see that, my Terf Pride pin, and also my Humans Are Idiots pin. And mind the dash hound glitter that is completely all over it. It's a well-loved hat, what can I say? Totally was not comfortable within approaching anybody in that particular area to take a photo. So I took a selfie in front of the stairs because they were really literally, whoa. I had a comment on Getter which I actually thought was absolutely hilarious, and that was, where's the stairs for the heterosexual people? Like, that's, and that was the vibe the stairs had, right? It's just like, oh, the trans can walk this way, the LGB can walk this way, but, you know, the old heterosexuals, no, and it did have that vibe. It was just really peculiar. So the lady who organises this particular group of TERFs, the Turvan, a flock of TERFs, I don't know what the plural is, she's been at this woman empowering type of thing for a very long time. Absolutely amazing. Like, I was really, really proud and inspired to be talking and involved with someone that's been at this for such a long time. And as I get older, I'm 46 years old, and, you know, look, whatever, you know, it's just, like, the older I get, the more important it is to me that being a woman and being part of who I am is blossoming and maturing. And it's a really important thing. And that scares me for the next generation of kids. So to see a lady, sorry, tearing up here. I am an emotional person. Hormones do that to you. Being emotional or highly emotional is not a mental illness. It just means that I get overly excited and overly passionate, and sometimes I leak water out my eyes. Whatever. But seeing a veteran like that, I mean, I don't know if she wants me to mention her age or anything like that, but, you know, she's an older lady, you know, she's got a bit of time on this planet, more than I do, way more than I do. And that's got to count for something, you know, like here in Australia, it's with our natives, our Indigenous people, the elders of the community are like so important. So important. I don't understand how with women and still leaking, with women, how the older we get, the less relevant and important we seem to be. Like this young fella yesterday, and he said, well, how does a man born trans, have an advantage over a woman in the pool? I'm just looking at him going, are you goddamn serious? This kid was not much older than my son. And I'm like, put your hands up, mate. He puts his hand up, I put my hand up. I'm like, look at the hand span alone, let alone the lung size, the heart size, your shoulder size. And he says, oh, it sounds like you're throwing a whole heap of straw man arguments at me. These kids are throwing these definitions at us and they don't even know what it means. I don't think the kid knows what a straw man argument is, but he's heard it before, so it sounds good, so he's going to use it on this cranky old Karen. Yeah, I love that, you know. Let's demonise middle-aged ladies that actually have their say as Karens. You know, like he turned off in a half and was offended. Like, so hurt that I said that no man can ever be a female. Like no man can ever be a woman. Ever. And he's just so offended by it. I mean, dude, you're a dude. You can't be a chick. You're a bloke, not a fucking Sheila. Stay out of the Sheilas, Loos and Dunnies, mate. Like, it makes no fucking logical concept. Like, logical fucking... So there was that. Disagreeing with someone in the early 20s about the autonomy differences between his frame and my frame. Like, I'm 5'1". I'm 153 centimeters tall. So leading up to this protest, the other thing I found really, really surprising by the whole was that how much precautions had to be taken into account for us women's safety. The TRAs are so aggressive that in 2018, the march, protest, whatever you call it, had to be stopped because they got so aggressive, the TRAs. This is in Brisbane, Queensland. Like, I've yet to see one female, one woman be aggressive to one of these trans-identifying men. Not one. Now, when this biologist said, you know, I'm a biologist, we were talking about what was a woman, and she was saying, I'm a biologist. And I'm like, well, what defines a woman? I would define a woman as someone who is born female and has grown into womanhood. So, and she said, well, how do you know what a female is? Again, I've given birth. I had a baby girl and a baby boy. I can fucking well tell you the difference between those two fuckers. My spawn are different. I have one 6 foot, nearly 3 boy, and I have one 5'3" daughter. I can tell you the fucking difference between the two. How they felt about their gender related to their sex is never mind. If my daughter wanted to be, well, she is. My daughter is a bit of a tomboy. But if she wanted to present herself in a more masculine dressing, want to be a mechanic, then power to her. You know? But I can't see how cutting healthy organs of a human is beneficial for their mental health. It makes no freaking logical sense. So the other thing I think I'm going to just slip on the end of this was, as I was walking around the city yesterday, and it's a little bit of a train trip from where I live, but like I said, Queensland's a really big place. So, you know, it's a journey. You got a journey in there and you've got a journey back out. So you get a bit of a thinking time. So I was sort of like, why is it that men think the definition of man is so friggin' set in concrete? Like, if I've got a coin and there's two sides of that coin being human. Like, the coin is human. On one side of that coin, you've got woman. And let's look at the alchemic symbol for woman, which is the upside down chalice, blade. So say on one side of the coin is the symbol of the blade, and the other side of the coin is the symbol of the chalice. And the reason why the chalice is used for the woman is because it's the vag. See the vag? Hey! And the blade is the penis. Chalice blade. So on one side of the coin is the chalice, on the other side of the blade, the coin being human. If we can't define the definition of one side of that coin, then by default, we cannot define the definition of the other side of the coin. If we cannot define what a woman is, then we cannot, by default, define what a male is. And if we cannot define what a male or a female is, then we will not be able to define what a human is. And that is a legal problem. Because corporations have the same right as a human. A corpse. An inanimate object. Something that doesn't exist, it is dead. That has been necromancied, reanimated to be something that it's not. So therefore you've got a corporation, a dead corpse, reanimated, that now has the same right as humans in law. So if you have women that cannot be defined and men that cannot be defined because you cannot define woman, so therefore you cannot by default define a man, then you can't define the coin. If you can't define human, then we're going to be getting we're going to be having some issues in legal terms to define what a human is, because now we can give the same rights as a human to a cyborg or a robot or my toaster. So anyway, I'm going to love yous and leave you. Stone out.